Good afternoon, one and all. We have gathered here for a small discussion about the career opportunities in defense studies, importance of defense studies, as well as about many current issues that is going on around the world, as well as issues within in our own country. To discuss about this, we have amongst us Maj.Madhan Kumar, who happens to be our advisor and consultant for the department, and he will be giving answers to many of your questions pertaining to the topic. Over to you, Major Sir.
Thank you, sir. It's been a great time to be here with the Department of Defense Studies. So looking forward to interact with all of you so we can start the questions.
Welcome, sir. Can you please tell me what are the implications of Russia and Ukraine war on India?
See, when you speak about Russia and Ukraine, we don't have a direct security threat because it's far away from India and we are not involved in the war. So we don't have a military threat or a war or we getting into a war. It is not there. But we have severe economic implications. Russia is one of the world's largest supplier of oil. So currently the crude is at the all-time highest. So we are importing almost 83% of crude oil. So we know how much petrol price is costing now, right? So even after the 10 rupee reduction, we are still paying 18 price. That will in the short term, it will create a lot of inflation. Second is Ukraine also produces a lot of sunflower oil, edible oil. And India is the largest importer of sunflower oil. So you also can see oil prices going up. So Indians typically we use a lot of palm oil and sunflower oil. So whoever feels sunflower oil is cost expensive, they'll go for an alternate oil. So end of the day, all the oil commodity prices, edible oil commodity prices is going up. So people are spending more money to buy the same amount of oil. So that is also an issue. So that's why if you see the government has to control inflation, we have increased our interest rate. Today, if you go and take a loan, we spend more on interest because government wants us to spend less. Whereas 6 months before, governments wanted us to spend more because we were recovering from COVID. So that's the major implication as far as India is concerned. India doesn't export much to Russia. So somehow, or to Ukraine, we don't export much. So somehow it is safe. Our export market is still safe as far as Russia is concerned. And because of the global oil prices going up and all the commodity prices going up, the rupee is also weakening against the dollar. So we are at 70. So these are the major implications as far as India is concerned.
Good afternoon, sir. So my question is about some of the problems we are seeing the economic crisis in Sri Lanka, sir. Sir, can you please explain about the geopolitical impact on India or South Asia, and why did the economic crisis Sri Lanka is having?
Good question. So you always say in defense studies you have to know your neighbors first. So who all are the neighbors? Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Maldives. Sri Lanka is very, very important to us because it is strategically located in Bay of Bengal, Indian Ocean region. So anything happening there, in simple terms, if there is a building which is on fire, a neighbor building is on fire, we can't relax because the fire will eventually come to you. Sri Lanka is hardly any distance from India, especially from Tamil Nadu. So geopolitically, it's a very important location. Anything good or bad happening in the place will have an impact on us. For example, in the current scenario, if the country goes into a civil war kind of a situation, or the government is weakened, there is no stable government, anti-Indian forces will do everything to take over the talent. So anti-Indian forces, specifically there is a Chinese threat, there is a threat from Pakistan. So it's easy for them to come closer to India, to threaten India. So we want the country to be stable. That's why we are doing a lot of help. So we have done around close to $2 billion of help in terms of credit line, food oil, diesel, medicines, all essentials. So what led this? Why did Sri Lanka head this way? It doesn't happen today. 2009, they Till 2009 we were fighting with LTT, Independent Tigers of Tamil Nadu. So they spent a large amount of money in their defense budget. So in the last war, they spent considerable amount of money. After that the war got over, 2009, LTT got eliminated. Then after they went into a path of recovery. They went into a part of recovery. Their economy is based on three major things. First is tourism. A lot of people go on tourism. Second is the spices and condiments they export. And third is textiles. Three industry is the three major one where the government gets the money. Where do the government spend? They spend on imports. They import a lot of things from China, India and other places. They spend money on their government, which is basically they have a very oversized army. Their army is too big for the country of that size. So they are spending too much of money on this thing. So there is always a deficit. Whatever they earn, they spend more than that. So this was building on. So year on year, this got built up and they had a huge gap between what they were earning and what they were spending. It's like a credit card. So 1 month you don't pay, it adds on. The second month it adds on. Third month it adds on. So the same thing happened to Sri Lanka. That's one. COVID gave the final punch. Tourism stopped. So even after COVID got over, the majority of tourists come from Russia and Ukraine. Those two countries are in war, so the tourism never revived. Their textile exports took a hit because the consumers in Europe and US, their economy is also slowed down. So if I buy 5 shirts and pants when my country is okay, I'm earning good. In a crisis situation, you will buy only 3, or you may buy only 2. So the demand is less. So the textile exports also took a hit. Spices and condiments, thanks to the current government, this Rajapaksa's government, overnight they decided that the entire country will go on organic farm. So they stopped all the fertilizer import, they stopped all the pesticide import, they killed the agriculture. So all your income has gone. But you are spending in terms of imports. They import 100% oil and fuel. They import 100% electronics. They import a lot of other things. So on one hand your income is gone, the other hand your expenses is also going up. Third and the final thing they did is, before when this government came in, they said we will cut down the GST by 50%. So everybody felt happy, they voted for it. This is happening in Tamil Nadu, this is happening in India also. Somebody says this is free, people will go and vote for that. So already your revenue is less. Now you cut GST by 50%. Government doesn't have any money. And then they said they cut down income tax also. So when they cut down income tax, 25 lakh people went out of income tax. So they didn't pay any tax. So that ended up in a mess which they can never recover. Their economy is 50 billion plus. But the loan, its amount of loan, if you, in terms of GDP, is more than 100%. $58 billion plus. If all the countries agree to waive off the loan, mostly China, India, a lot of countries are given the loan, Japan. If all of them say we will waive off the loan, then you have to listen to them. You can't take your own decisions. In that case, you lose your strategic autonomy. What is strategic autonomy? We want to buy oil, we will buy from Russia, we will buy from Iran, or we will not fear for America, or will not take terms from anyone. We will buy on our own. That is my autonomy. I am here, I will buy my clothes, I will buy my everything. But you say that I don't have money, I will not pay the house's rent. Then whoever your roommate pays that rent, he will tell you sleep here. You will have to sleep there. You will say, okay, you have to use the room only once. So those things are there currently happening in Sri Lanka. It is very, very tough for them to recover from it.
Welcome, sir. My question is, what is your view on the introduced newly recruitment scheme called Agnipath?
See, Agnipath is a new HR policy. Every company has HR policy. For the defense forces, it's a new recruitment scheme. Why it was done is primarily for 3 reasons. First, the average age of Indian armed forces is 32. Down 10 years, it will be around 32 to 34. Whereas the country's age will be, guess how much? 25, less than 25. You know why? So 140 crore of population by 2030, 145 to 145 crore, 50% of the population will be less than 20. They will all be young like you. So if a country's age is 25, and your armies or the defense forces age is 33, what will happen? Short of manpower. You have excess manpower, but you are not recruiting them. You have a young population. They want to join our forces, but because of long career, they are not able to join. Now you have to look at your enemy. Who is the number one enemy? China. China's PLA, People Liberation Army's average age is 23. And we are 32. So the fitness level differs. Even though we are fit, we are very, very agile, our soldiers are good. A person with a peak fitness at 23 and a person with a peak fitness at 32, who will be better? 23 will be better. So that's why we said, okay, we want to look at this thing. Similar thing was done after Kargil. So after Kargil, we learned a lot of lessons. So one of the lessons was Pakistani army officers were young. The commanding officers were 35, 36. Whereas Indian commanding officers were 45 plus, almost 43, 44 plus. So they said these officers has to be young. So we got ABC commission. We said, okay, from 2 years you will become a captain, 6 years of service you will become a major, 13 years of service you will become a lieutenant. So all the tri-services went into the same school. Our average commanding officer age is today 33. So we have to course correct. Third is the defense budget. So we have around 5.5 lakh crore of defense budget, roughly around 1.8% of the GDP. In that, 2.4 approximately goes for lakh crore goes for salaries and pension. Another 2.5, 2.3 around goes for operational expenses, because army is continuously functioning, navy is continuously functioning. So balance is left at around 40-50,000 crore. So navy wants ship, air force wants more Rafale jets, army wants a lot of equipment, tanks. So how will you buy this? How will you upgrade? We are still flying MiG-21s. We need newer aircrafts. We need newer ships, because China is growing, Navy is growing. So you need to find ways and means of optimizing that defense budget. So Agniveer, instead of say for example 50,000 soldiers working for 15 years, now you expanded vertically. Large soldiers working for less years. So this will give you more employment. This will also keep the defense forces in. Will also cut down your expenses. These are the three main reasons why Agnipath was brought in. It is a very, very good scheme. The target youth is anywhere between 10 pass, even 10 dropouts can join. So you can join for 4 years between the age of 17 and a half to 21. After 4 years of service, including the training, when you come out, you will get a money of 11.74 lakhs. Plus your salaries are already there. Most of the Agniveers will be posted in the field area. There is hardly any expense in the field area. So you can save at least 5,000 a month, minimum 5,000, 10,000 a month. So that put into 48 years. So you can say 3 lakhs. Eventually you are getting around 15 lakhs. So 15 lakhs with the current age reduction, either they have reserved 10% in CRPF, ITBP, Assam Rifles. You can continue with it. Or you want to come and do different studies, you want to do your MBA. Now you have money, so you don't have to wait for, ask your parents for education. You can preserve your own education. Or you want to start a media company, or you want to start your own shop, or you want to start your own business, you can do that also. So this is overall a win-win situation. The other major thing which Agniveer gives is, it is for both men and women. Because women are almost 50% of our population. If women don't work, the nation will not progress. So in total, there are concerns that this will cut down. There are a lot of people who want a pensionable service, who are looking for job security. This eventually doesn't stop here with armed forces. Eventually it will happen in police, it will happen in all other forces, because it's time for us to change.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. My question is about national security, sir. What are the national security issues currently faced by India, sir?
See, we have a very strong enemy towards our northern and eastern end, that is China. So China is definitely, it's very dynamic. They're in expansion mode. They claim Arunachal as theirs. They claim part of Ladakh as theirs. So China is going to be the number one threat for at least next 30 to 40 years. The enemy is big. They are very, very strong. So we need to guard from China. Second is Pakistan. Pakistan cannot win a war with India directly, so they use proxy war. You can see the terrorism which is happening in Kashmir. Punjab is also a bit more disturbed, so we need to look at how Pakistan does in Kashmir. So we need to control Pakistan and try to bring back Kashmir to normalcy and not let Punjab get into terrorism. Third important thing is the internal security, internal threats. Internal threats is invisible. We don't see it as a threat. For example, cyber warfare. So Mumbai was hit. Mumbai was without power for 16 hours, almost. I think 8 to 10 hours. If a city can be brought down without power, how much of loss will happen? Just imagine. All the factories are shut down. So cyber warfare is there. Now, 3 years before we had an incident in Bangalore, where one Congress MLA's son, he posted something on Facebook. So it went viral. So all people from one particular community, they all were in the streets, and within 1 hour, a complete street was burned down. Hundreds of cars were burned down. Women and children were beaten up. Luckily, I think there was no loss of life. But how did this happen? This happened because of propaganda. So what is the way of doing propaganda? Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, Telegram, social media, Twitter. So that's an important thing for us. We have seen so much of protest. Third is the organized protest and violence, stone building. So, for example, if there is some stone building which happens outside the university, say for example, thrice, 3 times, will you think the next year's admission for this university will be good? Nobody wants to come to an insecure place. Definitely women will not come. So we say violence, because it's been happening. Even this current batch of years, if they are not getting into it, but the name has come. The name has come that way that this place is not good, this place is. So we should not be getting into that. So that is another major threat, which is all instigated by external forces. Fourth is India's growth depends largely on foreign investments. A lot of new factories have to come in. All of you have to get jobs, right? So the foreign investments come in. So how will they come and invest in Kashmir? No, it's not a secure place. Will they come and invest in Tamil Nadu? Yes, it will be. But what happened today for Sterling? So we got the factory, we gave the license, the factory was running, factory inspector goes and visits, pollution control does an audit, and now we say that this factory is not polluting, it's not functioning, based on some protest, something happened, firing happened, people died. These kind of organized protests, which will disrupt the country's industrial growth, also affects us very, very badly. So Pakistan and China would be dealt by the defense forces, but internally, it is us we have to deal with internal security.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. My question is, how do you think future wars was going for major change, sir?
Future?
Wars was going for major change.
See, the first generation war is 2 people fought, hand to hand. Whoever was stronger, the one. The second generation war, one took a bow and arrow. So I am weak, you are strong. But if I know how to use a bow and arrow, I can still kill you. Right? So generation after generation, the war changed. Today, if you look at Ukraine, Russia war especially, contactless warfare has increased. Contactless, there is no soldier to soldier fighting. He sends a missile, he sends a drone, one army sends a drone, bombs attack, use of missiles, use of long range artillery, 60 kilometers they do bombing. You have seen all these videos which is happening. So every country now will invest more on missiles, more on rockets, more on drones, drone related UAVs, armed drones, Air Force, rather than the conventional way of increasing the size of army. So today we have 1 lakh, 13 lakh soldiers. So threat in China is more. Now we need 15 lakh soldiers. That is not going to work. We need to have more modern technologies. And warfares, unlike Ukraine, Russia is an exception. Now on warfares will be more intense and it will be for a very limited time. Like last time when we fought in 1971, We won the war in 16 days. That's all. It took only 3 weeks to win the war. This time it will be much less. Because if you look at our neighbors, all three are nuclear armed nations. Anybody can use a nuclear. It's a very highly volatile thing. China has also got nuclear weapon, India and Pakistan, all three of us got nuclear weapon. So warfare has to be intense, will be intense, and warfare will be modern with all the new equipments. All you need to do is focus on college is fun, life is fun, you should enjoy, but it also comes with some sort of responsibility, right? So do well, keep this university's flag high and keep the department flag high. All the best, Jay.